Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to the Ask Rebecca radio show. Hope everyone's doing well. It's been a jam-packed week of intense energies coming in and shaking things up, and they will continue to intensify through the 22nd of this month. You could be experiencing vivid dreams and unusual ones that seem not to make any sense. You could have bouts of anxiety mixed with fatigue. Some of you could experience symptoms, cold-like symptoms, maybe scratchy throats, runny noses, maybe even some weird ear issue stuff like ringing or humming in the ear, or maybe even like a waxy buildup. Hang in there. You'll integrate the new energies and you'll get a little break before the next wave comes in. Lots of people waking up right now to the fact that they're more than just a physical being. Some beginning to connect with their own gifts and abilities. So it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I'm super excited for all of you that are experiencing those things. Just a friendly reminder that tomorrow, Friday, November 16th, I'll be launching Free Question Friday on my Instagram and Facebook pages. If you're interested, be sure to follow one or both of my pages so that you can get in on the action and ask your question. I'll be answering your personal questions randomly throughout the entire day. I'll be posting a video in the morning where you can ask your question. You'll receive a private message response for any personal life questions and any questions about spirituality, ascension, consciousness, conspiracy theories, aliens, or any other worldly topics that you want to ask about will be answered in a public format. That way everyone can see the response and hopefully learn and grow from it. Also, if you're into horoscopes, I posted November horoscope predictions on my Facebook page and my YouTube channel, so go check those out if you like. Tonight, I won't be taking a caller since next week is Thanksgiving and I won't be able to do the show live. So tonight's show will cover what you can expect from tonight through to Thursday, November 29th. These are general predictions for everyone in areas of work, love, finances, health, and spirituality. General themes that I was getting for you guys. Partnerships will be happening over the next 2 weeks. It's probably going to be longer than that 2-week time frame, but there's lots of partnership activity going on. This could be a love partnership, it could be friendships, it could be a work partnership, or it could be all of the above. And I feel like there's something for you to learn from each other. So that's why you're coming together. And even if you come together in a romantic relationship, I do feel like you're still meant to work together to achieve a collective purpose. And I feel twin flame connections for some of you, which will be helping you work through your relationship junk. Sometimes that can be a little bit intense when you meet a twin flame, but, you'll get through it. I also feel lots of business collaborations and work partnerships as well. So I do feel like there's a building of energy with these connections where maybe things won't be launching or quite happening until early next year, but the foundation is being built, right? The connections are being made, and then next year things will start manifesting more in line with whatever collaboration type of work that you do. It's kind of right now like a testing ground or training is kind of what it feels like. Some of you could also experience a heightened sense of alertness, becoming uber aware of all that's happening around you. Some of you won't be feeling that way, but I encourage you to be alert because I feel it will be important to be aware of your surroundings. And I feel like you need to be paying attention to where you're walking, make sure you're not texting and driving or just being on the phone, not fully focused on the road. I really just feel like, I don't know, I just have stuff going on with walking and driving and anything of that nature. So just pay attention again to what you're doing, focus on walking, don't walk backwards or be on your phone, looking down, texting. I also feel like this energy will come into play during Thanksgiving when you're spending time with family. I do feel like you're going to have some realizations about yourself and the ones that you surround yourself with. So it feels like a shattering of what you've maybe seen before, right? So maybe you just notice things about certain people that you never noticed before, or you notice how maybe something that in the past you would brush off and be like, oh, that's just so and so, that's how they are. Well, now I feel like you're going to actually feel the impact of what the other person's actions or words or whatever they're doing, how it actually impacts you. And you're seeing it from a different perception. So there's some things that could come to light about other people and about yourself. Some of you, I feel, could be dealing with feeling irritated. And I feel like some of you will feel like everything is just rubbing you the wrong way. You know, from the smallest of things, it's just like maybe you go through a day of just feeling completely irritated and annoyed with everything and everyone and all that's around, maybe even yourself. To me, it feels like it's a grain of sand that's stuck under your nail or in your bathing suit. And I just feel, again, like it's just going to be rubbing you and irritating you in some way. And maybe you guys will, some of you will actually literally experience this. Maybe you are going to be spending time at the beach over the holiday. And, you know, I don't know. But I do know that you'll need to figure out what's bugging you. Why is everyone and everything getting under your skin? And I feel like once you figure it out, it will be up to you to change what's causing this feeling. Whether it's recognizing something about yourself in someone else, right? A lot of times when other people trigger us, it's really our problem. So if someone is saying something and you're taking it personal and getting upset about it, that's really your issue in some way because it's affecting you on a deep emotional level. So again, just kind of pay attention, figure out what you're feeling and what the cause is and how you can figure out a solution. And although it will be frustrating, I do feel, you know, it's important to remind you that all of this is coming up to be cleansed. You're cleansing your soul of its traumas and misperceptions. And, you know, it sometimes is a little uncomfortable, but the end goal is a really great one. There's also a possibility some of you may be extra clumsy or experience sudden pockets of chaotic energy that seem to spiral out of control. To me, it looks like, you know, I just see people tripping, maybe even tripping over your own feet, or you're tripping over the sidewalk. I feel like things could be breaking. So maybe you're grabbing something out of the pantry and something else shatters all over the ground. You're spilling things. You're just kind of clumsy and dropping things. And I do feel like these pockets of energy, they're going to be like back to back, right? So it's almost going to be comical in nature where you grab one thing, something drops out of your hand, and then you go to pick it up and then you slip, or like something to that effect. It really just kind of, it doesn't feel like it's something very serious. It just seems more, again, comical in nature. And it just reminded me of the Three Stooges, of just being completely physically silly. And why these pockets of energy are happening is just because there's a lot of stuff coming up, but these pockets of energy are actually breaking up old patterns. And it seems like a silly way to do it, but it works really well because it kind of shakes you. And, you know, hopefully you can just laugh at it and not take it too seriously and get you bent out of shape. But pay attention to your reaction to when those things are happening, because that's going to give you insight into what's being broken up, what pattern of behavior is coming loose within you. Lots of energies coming in for soul growth and expansion of your consciousness. They will affect your behavior, your perception, and current situations may finally come to a resolution, or at least they look like they're heading to a resolution. I also pulled a card for you guys. It's called the Path of the Dragon. It states the dragon is a powerful being who brings transformation wherever they go. There are dragons of the earth, dragons of the water, dragons of fire, and dragons of air. Since you are now on the path of the dragon, you must move through life with integrity and full empowerment. You bring transformation with every step you make with love and trueness. And I feel those of you on this energetic path of the dragon, I feel like you'll receive confirmation this week, or, within the next couple of weeks. I feel like you'll know that that's the energy that you're connected to through maybe dragons coming into your awareness in some way. You'll see synchronicities with it. Maybe you have a dream about dragons, or you see a picture of a dragon, or you read about them, or you hear someone talking about them. Whatever way it will come to you, if that is the path that you're on. And if it comes into your awareness, I recommend, doing some research, seeing what that exactly means for you or how it resonates within you. It might give you some insight into yourself and into your journey. You may also experience extremes of love and fear. So one minute you're tuned into love, then the next minute fear rears its ugly head. And it just feels like all things of duality are coming up or can come up. The energies coming in are purging your third dimensional frequencies, which is duality. And duality is, good, bad, up, down, left, right, heaven, hell, the duality. And it's also third dimensional frequencies. It's also connected to linear time. And that creates a buffer between your thoughts and emotions from manifesting instantaneously. So that's kind of what we're all here to do, right? We're here to learn that our thoughts and our emotions have power and that we can create with those. We just have a difficult time sometimes making that connection, especially because there is that time, the linear time gap. So you might be worrying and stressing about money, and those thoughts are being let go into the ethers. They're being sent out there, and then they percolate, they manifest eventually. And sometimes the lag time could be, a couple of hours. Sometimes it could be a couple of weeks, a couple of months, but eventually your focus on worrying and stressing about money is going to bring financial situations into your life that are more challenging, and maybe you're always stuck in a position of lack. So all of this is happening because you're being pushed to embody fourth dimensional frequencies, which basically is a different perception of your current reality. It's less about the physical and more of the spiritual. It's very in-depth. Feel free to do your own research on this. It's just too much to get into right now. But in the fourth dimension, synchronicities and quicker manifestation of your thoughts and emotions occur. And dimensions, in a very basic description, are just levels of perception. These dimensions exist in the same space that you're in now. They're right next to each other, on top of, they're all right there. And you are basically like a radio, right? Like imagine a radio that you're tuning to a station. Well, you're vibrating at a certain frequency and you're tuning into the third dimension or the fourth dimension. Or so as you are purging and growing, your frequency is going to change and you're turning the dial, and then you're going to be connecting with the other dimensional levels. So that's kind of how it works. The simplest way for me to try to explain it. It's just really complicated and complex topic, and we don't have enough time to get into all of this right now, but I just kind of wanted to give you a basic overview. And yes, many people are already embodying fourth dimension, and there's many people that are even higher in dimensions. So some of the fear that could come up has to do with things you're clinging onto, like relationships, jobs, money, situations, behaviors, and anything else that you're afraid of losing, leaving, or letting go of. It's the same stuff, right? It's the same stuff that we've been dealing with now for several years. It's just intensifying because we're really, really getting to the core of things, and everybody's on their own path. So, again, some of us started this journey way, way long ago, and others are just now starting to wake up to this. So everybody's in their own space, and we're all here to help each other through this. Now, control issues is another topic that could surface this week and the next. Are you a control freak? I would say yes. some of you are control freaks. We all have our control freak tendency, and just realize that control equals fear. And if you're not sure if you're a control freak, well, I do feel like you'll find out if you are over the next couple of weeks. Maybe some of you, it'll take a little bit longer, but I do feel like you'll realize, oh, you know what? I do feel like I have to plan everything, and I need to know. And if it doesn't go exactly the way that I mapped it out for the day, then I'm rocked to the core, and it, affects you emotionally. So take a look at that and see. I do feel like you'll move through this really quickly and end up being more open, generous, and more aware of the fact that fear solves nothing. I also feel some of you or others around you may have the need to prove that they're right about something. When you're in the third dimension, you'll fight about and argue your point about being right. When you're in the fourth dimension, if you know you're right, you don't feel the need to prove yourself. You don't need to prove that you're right. It doesn't matter to you. You won't feel the need to convince anyone to believe that you're right. You'll let them figure it out on their own. So I just wanted to give you that comparison so you can kind of see what I'm talking about when I refer to third dimension, fourth dimension, and so on. So it is a matter of perception. So pay attention to that, right? If you catch yourself in a situation where you're arguing about being right, take a step back and realize, what's the point? Some things you don't need to prove that you're right about. If you know you're right, you're right. Who cares if they believe you or not? I do feel like there could be power struggles and conflict. Pick and choose your battles. You could see this play out worldwide as well. Expect more conflict and power struggles within politics, businesses, and I feel like some stuff with Hollywood will be in the news as well. So, it all sounds a little bleak, but it's not going to be that bad, right? It's going to come up into your awareness. It's all about how you handle these things. I don't want you to think like the next 2 weeks are just going to be horrific. They're not. There's just stuff that will be coming up. And, and you can minimize the effects by being aware of what's happening and not being emotionally triggered, right? Don't become emotionally reactive to what's happening. Instead, take a minute. Observe, feel, and then respond. Work, for those of you employed, choices and decisions will need to be made. Caution with mixing business with pleasure, especially the romantic kind. I feel like some of you could be stressed out about losing your job or being laid off. I feel like some of you are hearing things through the grapevine. I just feel like there's people talking, and try not to listen to that stuff, right? Like it's kind of, how when you were younger, you used to play the telephone game and you'd start off with somebody saying something and whispering it into the other person's ear and go around the room. And by the time it made it back to you, it was completely different. So remember that. Keep those things in perspective. Don't let stuff trigger you and get you all riled up over nothing. Some of you could be so focused on this whole like rumor mill or gossip or whatever's going on or the security of your job that I feel like your work will suffer and you're not really focused on what you're doing because you're stressed out. And in turn, you could cause yourself to get a stern talking to. So it's almost, again, like you're going to manifest that because you're putting the energy into it. So deal with situations as they arise instead of worrying yourself to death about something that hasn't happened yet and possibly may not even happen. So deal with things as they come. I do feel some of you will get caught up in drama at work or even be the one creating conflict to stir the pot. I feel like some of you might be triggered with maybe some insecurities, or maybe there's somebody at work that you've had beef with, or they've been pushing your buttons. So now you're just like, you know what, I'm going to push their buttons back. Again, just don't do that because I feel like it will have a negative outcome on you, where there could be some issues arising at your job. And I feel like there are some of you, or it may not be you, it could be someone in your workspace. I feel like they could totally lose it and maybe, like I see a vein popping out of their head and maybe they end up losing their job because they say stuff they shouldn't. Work, for those of you that are looking for a job. Unfortunately, I'm not feeling much on the hiring front. I feel like it's a slow time due to the holidays. I feel like some areas are affected by weather. So I just feel like there's just going to be a lag and a delay. And I feel like there's just unforeseen issues that may arise at places of business or with, I don't know. It just feels like there's going to be reasons and situations that hiring is kind of at a standstill for the next 2 weeks. But don't be discouraged. Just keep looking for a job. And if you're absolutely desperate, make sure to get a seasonal job right now. Love, for those of you in committed relationships and dating seriously, I do feel like love will be center stage. So with like all this purging of crap that's going on, the bright part of it is there's just so much love that's happening, not only in romantic relationships, but love in general with people that you are really connected to and in tune with. And that's going to help balance out, because of the duality thing, that's going to help you see where some of your relationships are lacking, because you have these other amazing relationships that are reciprocal. And it will shed light on the ones that aren't and give you the opportunity to work on changing them or maybe setting boundaries in some way. All right. So romantic love. Again, I just feel like it's going to be a lovey-dovey, mushy time. So that's exciting for some of you. I do feel like some of you guys are just in complete sync in the next couple of weeks. You're falling in love all over again. You're just happy. I feel laughter. I feel joy. I just feel like there's a lot of really great things. And depending on where you are in your relationship, I feel like you're making positive choices towards the future together. Engagements, pregnancies, moving in together, meeting the parents, like all of these things I feel are really coming together. Now, I do feel some of you are finally letting go of fears surrounding relationships, and your heart bursts open, breaking down all your walls, which in turn strengthens and deepens your current relationship. So that is also a positive. With that, there could be, the way that could manifest is maybe a fear being triggered, and then you finally actually communicate and express what you're feeling, or maybe your partner expresses their fear, and together you're just melting down these brick walls. I also feel that there will be some of you who will find yourself having conflicts and power struggles and who's right within your relationships. I do feel that it's going to be over. Some stuff will be minor, some will be a little more major. I feel like it's things that have been swept under the rug for a long time that you haven't talked about or haven't expressed, and they finally come to a head. I do feel like a lot of it is connected to the imbalance of masculine and feminine energy. So check yourself with that. And I would just say to you, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? And sometimes you have to let go of your ego and accept things. So consider that. Those of you looking for love, I just feel love connections, like serious stuff, potential long-term, getting married and having babies kind of relationships are coming in. Others will be overcoming fears of rejection and abandonment before meeting someone. Or you could meet someone who's going to actually help you get over those things, even though it may not lead to a long-term relationship. It could be a temporary one. So either way, it's a plus, because that's what's standing in the way of you meeting your forever person. So get out and mingle for sure. Finances. Some of you won't have your mind on finances at all because you're totally blissed out in love. You're getting your groove on. Some of you are getting over your fears about lack of money. You realize worrying creates more problems. And lastly, some of you could be fighting over money. That could be some of the conflict. Health. Some of you are dealing with health issues connected to holding on to past hurts. Forgiveness work will help. Some of you have been carrying around so much fear and worry that you're bursting emotionally. Let it all out. Punch a pillow. Cry in the shower. Spiritually, listen to your heart and intuition. Some of you could have some strong psychic experiences and spiritual awakenings happening. A mentor could come in your life. You'll suddenly won't be limiting yourself any longer or holding yourself back from accomplishing your goals. And some of you will remove yourself from a religion or spiritual tradition and embark on a new path. So that covers the predictions for the next 2 weeks. I'm sending you all lots of love and wishing you a happy Thanksgiving. I hope that everybody celebrates and has a fantastic time. Try not to eat too much. Try not to drink too much. You don't want to make yourself sick. And if you're interested in booking an appointment, you can call or text me at 407-374-3133. I hope everybody has a great 2 weeks. I'll see you soon. Bye.